Other interesting business news, you have Verizon to buy Frontier for $20 billion, which is a pretty penny to say the least. Well, a vintage pretty penny since modern pennies are 99.99% zinc and just simply copper plated. Mostly trash, perhaps a good metaphor for our monetary system, but I partially digress with our fiat currency. This is brought to us thanks to Gab Harari, who's a writer at USA Today, in which she says, quote, Verizon to buy Frontier Communications in $20 billion deal to boost their fiber network. There you can see the, well, always funny, touchscreens are great until they don't work, which is why I'm always skeptical about the technology. They say, quote, yeah, oh, geez Louise, so get this. Communications giant Verizon announced they will enter into a definitive agreement to acquire Frontier Communications in a all-cash transaction of $20 billion. That is a pretty penny to say the least. I mean, a lot of times, I mean, it's very common when you have these type of big acquisitions, it's usually a mixture of cash as well as stock and other options. Now, they say, according to Verizon, the acquisition will, quote, significantly expand the company's fiber footprint across the country, accelerating the company's delivery of premium mobility and broadband services, which makes sense. And again, this anecdotally coming from the Midwest and going down south, Verizon, I think I've had one option through my rental through apartments and houses throughout the years. I've had one option where Verizon was there, predominantly in terms of fiber optics and kind of the at-home wired cable options, broadband as well as fiber optic. And throughout my lifetime, overwhelmingly it was AT&T, Frontier, and then a couple times, every once in a while you have a Spectrum thrown in there for good measure. So it's one of those things where, yeah, Frontier's a lot bigger presence in that regard. Now, I'm not sure, I mean, how valuable will that be in the future, though, as we have technology changing? And I say, quote, the combination will integrate Frontier's fiber network into Verizon's portfolio of fiber and wireless access, including Fios, according to the release. Frontier has 2.4 million subscribers across 25 states, while Verizon has approximately 7.4 million Fios connections in 9 states and Washington, D.C., according to Verizon. Frontier is also committed to building an additional 2.8 million fiber locations by the end of 2026, increasing its current to a total of 7.2 million fiber locations. The two companies have approximately 10 million combined fiber customers across 31 states and Washington, D.C. Now, of course, both CEO, I'll read it. Verizon Chairman and CEO Hans Vetsberg said, quote, the acquisition of Frontier is a strategic fit. It will build onto Verizon's 2 decades of leadership at the forefront of fiber and is an opportunity to become more competitive in more markets throughout the United States, enhancing our ability to deliver premium offerings to millions of consumers across combined fiber network, unquote. Which looks like they're acquiring Frontier at a premium of $38.50 per share, all cash, which, hindsight's 2020. Now, of course, who wouldn't have wished they bought that stock earlier? Now they're getting bought out such a good premium. But now, it makes sense in terms of having that local infrastructure, but in terms of internet adoption rates and technologies, I mean, one of the biggest things that's blowing up right now is wireless via satellite. With what was it last week? You had Elon Musk via SpaceX announcing a partnership with T-Mobile that will eventually be rolled out to other major telecom carriers. But it's an instance where, in many cases, satellite internet might be all you need. Now, granted, you're always going to have some folks who need dedicate. And again, there's a wise man, Tom Sewell, once said there's no such thing as solutions, only trade-offs. And it's one of those things where the more I get, the more I find that to be true. Most people, I would argue, that type of cell phone internet would probably be good enough for most at-home needs. Now, granted, there are instances where, like, if I'm loading things up to Rumble, which is the best streaming platform bar none, as well as YouTube, well, in those cases, yeah, it helps that I have wired internet and I do pay for the 1 gigabyte up and down. But yeah, I wish this rental house had 5G wired throughout the house, but unfortunately it's only one gigabyte capacity, so I'd have to rewire the whole house to get 5. But I partially digress. In terms of the adoption rate of this, I think, again, not financial advice by any means, but I actually think the future is going to be more satellite oriented because, again, the cost price will go down over time, so it's even more competitive. And while maybe it might be, again, it's much more reliable to have a physical connection, with an Ethernet cable, with the fiber coming to your house or apartment. And there's still a great benefit for that satellite. So, I mean, it makes sense to add this to a portfolio. And again, they'll eventually have the Starlink integration as well in the future. But pretty interesting to see them go in this direction. But let me know, do you think this is a good business decision? How do you currently get your internet? I'm guessing most people get it in terms of probably getting it from at home where you have a Wi-Fi, but it's connected by fiber optic to your house or apartment. But I also have some friends right now where they just have portable hotspots they carry down with them everywhere. But I'd be interested to know. Let me know in the comments because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.